All the technology ready? Okay. Good morning. Start with some injury news, first of all. KJ Costello still listed somewhere between questionable and doubtful. I think he'll try to throw some today. We'll see how that goes. Stuart Head was able to play last week and make it through. Played pretty well. Some on special teams and late in the game at safety. John Butler, we'll see if we can get him going this week. Was not able to make the trip last week, but he'll get some more practice reps. Ethan Bonner was up for the game. Looks like he'll be out for a while with a separate injury. Devery Hamilton will be down again this week, and then we'll see if he's possible for the next game or if it's another 2 weeks or so, but he's recovering pretty well. Besides that, I thought we played well up in Corvallis. A lot of things to clean up. Played really well, honestly, as a team for about 3 quarters. Towards the end of the third quarter, into the fourth, needed to get some stops on the defensive side. Had a chance to put the game away on the offensive side. Didn't make enough plays. Penalty showed up again, backed us up defensively after playing really well for 3 quarters. Couldn't get a stop. Oregon State really came alive. I thought they did an outstanding job coaching and playing. But the big thing for us is when we needed guys to step up. Got a big kickoff return. Quarterback found a couple guys. Great job by Osiris making plays. Great job by Cameron Scarlett making some nice runs. Great job by the quarterback, clock management wise. Thought Davis did a great job of being composed in that part of the game and gives a chance for the win. I thought overall, special teams wise, we played very, very well. Really good on the coverage units. Some outstanding returns. Michael Wilson in punt return, Connor Weddington in kickoff return. But it's usually never just about those guys. It's about the other guys blocking for them. So that as an entire special teams unit, we played well. Made a huge kick to win the game. Difference in the game, depending how you look at it. Obi Ebo blocking their field goal was as big as any other part of the game. But once again, Obi gave outstanding effort, but it's also the guys around him doing their jobs. So special teams, I thought we played really well. Defensively, played really well for about, just about 3 quarters. Offensively, really good for a half. We just got to continue to push for consistency, not just consistency of not screwing up, but consistency of trying to play at a high level, because that's what's going to take this week against Washington. They are an intense unit. They play hard. They play physical. All 3 phases. They are not stopped. They're nonstop, and we can't afford to have lapses against a good football team like this.
You talked about, obviously, Oregon State had a lot to do with this, especially just their quarterback connection with Hodgins, probably the best receiver in the conference, if not up there. Was there anything else other than their playmakers making plays that you saw that led to the defense starting to wear?
Well, usually when that happens, it's not that all of a sudden we traded our guys out that have been playing well for a while. You wonder if you got a little worn down, guys got a little tired, got too many reps. Offensively, we didn't sustain our drives, so they weren't off the field for very long. They'd come off the field, go right back on. You're playing on turf. You're playing in the rain. You don't know if guys, who knows? But we didn't have the same pass rush that we had earlier in the game, where we put some pressure on them. We didn't play as well up front later in the game, whereas we'd done a great job against the run the entire game. And fourth quarter, I think they broke 3 big runs, which didn't happen at all the rest of the earlier in the game. So whether it was fatigue, whether it was not being able to sustain the momentum that we had, because we had great momentum. All 3 phases playing really well at a high level, and they made a couple plays and we couldn't stop them. So there's a lot of that you take a look at and make sure there's nothing we're doing technique-wise, nothing we're doing scheme-wise. That's the issue. of our guys not going out and getting stops on the defensive side.
On the flip side of that, what would you say, did anything switch from Oregon State's perspective on the defensive side that still got the offense in the second half and led to
No, it was the same bugaboo that's gotten us a couple times. We get a great punt return from Mike Wilson. We come down and we get a block in the back. Was it a questionable call? Maybe. But were there actual hands on someone else's back? Yes. So that screen pass to Dorian Maddox, that gets us down in field goal range. But now we go backwards. So we get a 1st and 20. We throw 2 bubbles to Connor Weddington. We get back to 3rd manageable. And then we whiff on in protection and we get a sack. Now instead of getting points, we get a punt. So things like that where you already have a team down, you already have a lead, and you get field position and you give that up. Whereas usually that kind of field position, all we have to do is make 2 plays, we're kicking a field goal, and now the game probably doesn't even come down to that last field goal because we have a lead and they don't have enough time to catch up. So all those things we're doing so well early on, getting positive yards, and converting on 3rd down, we didn't do that in the 4th quarter. So it wasn't anything drastic. It was the negative plays that harmed us. And even late in the game, relatively late in the game, had another third and manageable, and then we had a protection issue. Quarterback had to escape and try to make a tough throw on the run to Simi Fehoko. And once again, we don't get the opportunity to keep the ball and keep moving. So nothing drastic, just little things. But little things over time, when they pile up, they put you in difficult positions. As a whole, offensively, I thought we played well. As a whole, defensively, I thought we played well. It came down to that last quarter of us going out and making 1 or 2 more plays on offense or 1 or 2 more plays on defense. It's not just we barely win; we win by 2 scores and the game's over. So yeah, it's our goals to continue to focus on those things and improve and continue to play at the level we're playing at earlier in the game.
Spring game looked as good as I've seen it in years. How big a factor was that on Saturday?
I think we've been improving there really for the last couple of years. I thought Cam Scarlett's got a great feel for screens. I think we made a concerted effort this offseason to spend more time on the receiver screens, that they weren't going to be huge parts of our game, but they're great accents. They're great things to just have. You've got a guy like Connor Weddington, who's a background as a running back, and we get the ball in his hands quickly. Michael Wilson, good run after catch guy as well. So mixing those things in, as we've tried to do every game, I think it's been a positive thing for us.
Speaking of the quarterback play, how do you evaluate Davis after going back up to the field? And what have you seen from him from the time against Northwestern in that first start against USC?
Just growth, what you'd expect. The more you play, the more comfortable you are, the more experience you have. And to have talent without experience, you're going to get uneven play. And now really saying he's played 2.5 games, there was some throws he missed at USC that he didn't miss this past weekend. It wasn't anxiety or nerves. It's just a little lack of experience. And having that feel, there's nothing like the feel of a game and growing in that and getting experience from that. So he was able to come back and make some of the same plays end up being differently. Two great passes to Michael Wilson. He missed those throws at USC, those down the field throws. Because it's not just about arm strength, it's about touch and accuracy and ball placement. And you can do it in practice, but until you do it in game and get that feel for the adrenaline going in the games, it's hard to, you can't replicate that in practice. So got those in USC, made some corrections, really worked on it, and came back and made some really nice throws. And didn't play perfectly. Has multiple things that he's got to get better, to multiple areas that he's got to improve in. But for the most part, he took the next step, and hopefully most likely he's going to play again this week, and hopefully takes another step.
David, with him having that experience, that little bit of experience, are you able to do more as an offense with him than you could, a couple weeks ago, or is it still basically being
I think we, with Tavita Pritchard, who's with those quarterbacks all the time, we've never felt like we had to do less with Davis. Very smart, very bright. I feel the same way about Jack West. If Jack has to play at some point, there's no shrinking down of the offense. These are really bright guys. These are dedicated guys that work really hard. It's just counting on there being a little bit more experience now, and now some of those plays that we've missed before, we're making those, which just helps us stay in rhythm, gets us to 2nd and 4, gets us to 2nd and 1, gets us to 3rd and 5, getting us 3rd and 3, just those plays that keep us going. Thought David did a great job with his legs. Scramble late in the game was huge, pushing up, getting us into field goal range. His movement on the touchdown pass, outside the pocket, being able to avoid a defender and still put the ball in the back corner of the end zone for Bryson Tremaine to have his first catch and first touchdown on the same play. Plays like that where you feel like he's out there with comfort and savvy. Those things are that help you take the next step, and not necessarily us putting more of the offense on his shoulders, just him being able to relax and make plays.
You just touched on this, but pocket mobility, and then also what you can create outside the pocket downfield is such a huge part of quarterback play. Wondering, what did you see maybe from him in terms of on the 2 sacks that he sustained in the first half, but then in the second half made a number of plays within the pocket and then obviously out of the pocket that were really helpful.
Yeah, the big part of one of those 2 sacks, when the defensive lineman gets in the backfield less than a second after the ball snapped, Steve Young's not getting away, right? Steve Young in his prime. He may debate that. Sorry about that, Steve. But that's just, there's not enough time. When you're able to drop back and you feel lanes open, even if there's a guy coming at you, if you're athletic enough, you can find a window to escape. The passing windows are also running lanes. So that was easier for him because he's a very good athlete. But if we get beaten too quickly, there's no escape. You haven't even finished your drop yet. Now you have to try to find a way to get out. But a lot of times when you're able to drop back and finish your drop, you've got good vision anyway as far as where everybody is. And if you feel pressure, you can escape away from it. That's what happened. That was the difference on it between earlier and later in the game.
So where did the Stanford special come from?
Gosh, I want to say, I can't remember whose idea it was initially, but it was many years ago. But we ran it in the Pac-12 championship game where Christian threw it back to Kevin Hogan. Same exact play, same exact formation. And I want to say we had worked on it probably for a year before we ever called that. There are a group of those special plays that you have that you cater to your people. And trust me, there's a lot of debate on the team since we started working it in training camp. Cam Scarlett's got a nice arm. All the receivers can throw. And unlike it looked like during the game, Colby Parkinson has a really good arm. A little too much air on that one. Took a little while to get there. But we made the decision to go with Colby, partially because to be out there and have no receivers on the field, to have all tight ends and a fullback, to inspire a run defense, to inspire them to truly load the box so you get a chance to get the quarterback out. So, all those things work together. Similar reason why we did it against USC in the Pac-12 championship game. So now we had 2 backs and 3 tight ends in the game for that one. So no receivers, just to inspire that response. So it's one of those things that worked, thankfully. And, give credit where credit's due. Tavita Pritchard was pushing it. He said, "Hey, Coach, I think it's time." And we dialed it up. But worked well. And now we put it back in the annals for a while. Bring it out next in another couple of years.
Frustrating for KJ, I'd imagine, missing 2 games, possibly a third now. How's he been through all this?
KJ's a fighter. It's one of the things we loved about him from the very beginning. Recruited him in high school. have no doubts about his passion, have no doubts about his ability. This is just health. This is the same guy that took a lot of shots last year, but honestly, offensively, he drove us. We existed last year, got to a bowl game off of his right shoulder. Bryce Love got hurt, as well as JJ played. JJ missed, a game and a half. We missed multiple guys on the offensive line. The one constant the entire year last year was KJ, fighting through. So that we don't forget about that ever. He's a guy that when he's ready and healthy and ready to go, he's one of the best quarterbacks in America. Don't know that he's been completely healthy the entire year. Right now, I know he's dealing with some stuff, but I have full confidence and faith in him as a person and as a football player. So hopefully he can get healthy sooner than later.
David, you said you're going to have him track and throw today. Has he done any throwing before today?
I think we took that off him last week, just to inspire more of the healing process. So we'll try to see if we can get him to throw the ball around a little bit this week and see how it goes.
Is there an update on Jacob Mingham for
Will most likely be out. Well, he will be out this week again. He'll be out this week again. I think we're going to get another evaluation later this week to see how close he is.
What about Dylan Powell?
Dylan Powell will most likely miss the rest of the year.
obviously the numbers aren't there the way you want that inside linebacker to be able to rotate guys. But I'm wondering, what do you feel like you're getting from that position on game days right now with only two guys available?
Well, we put a little too much on their shoulders, more than we wanted to this year, especially for two guys really that are first-time starters, and one guy's been an inside linebacker for a couple of months, and the other one's been inside linebacker for a year. Right, one was an outside linebacker, the other was a safety. So taking that into account, I think they played extremely well. I think they're going to continue to get better. I think they're both, especially against Oregon, you saw they're both potential to make plays in the open field, pass and run. But I think we're still going to have some growing with those two. I think the faster they see things, the more they see things, the faster they'll react. So I think they're doing well. You'd love to have a little more depth at that position, maybe to keep everybody fresh. But they're troopers, and they're great team guys, and they're both leaders. They're both seniors, and they're both working really hard.
Yeah, it's been a while since that game has come down to a game-winning kick for us, and Jet obviously stepped up and drilled it. What was his recruiting process like? Did you go to Hawaii, or how did that process work, and why did you know it was a good fit?
Well, the two things with the recruiting process, all of our kickers that we recruit, kickers, punters, long snappers, they all come to our kicking camp. They have to come. We have to see them. Coach Alomar is one of the few special teams coaches on any level that doesn't just do the scheme. He actually coaches the position. He coaches the snappers. He coaches the holders. He coaches the kickers and punters. So for them to come and he can work with them live and get a feel for their talent, but also their ability to improve and take coaching and be able to do what we ask them to do the way that we ask them to do it. So that's first and foremost for Coach Pete to see those guys live, be able to work with them throughout that camp. Secondly, anytime we recruit anybody from Hawaii, let's just say there's a lot of discussion to see who gets to go do the home visit and who gets to go visit the school. I didn't actually make that trip. I think multiple guys did because I think we're actually always recruiting multiple guys from the island. So I know Coach Alomar went. I know a few other guys went because we're looking at Jet, but then also some other guys at other positions. So the never shortage of people eager to make that trip to Hawaii for recruiting purposes.
Can you talk about how Walter Rouse played last week, and just maybe what you've seen in his evolution from his first start to where he is today?
The biggest thing for me is he hasn't played like a freshman, right? A freshman, you're really worried about. You want to chip, you want to help, you want to put a tight end over there. You don't want to ask him to do too much. He's really played well. And, there are times where I forget that we have a freshman left tackle. This entire game completely forgot that we had a freshman left tackle and freshman left guard. They're bright kids. They're competitive kids. They want to do everything right. So for a young man like that to go through that game and kind of make 2 mistakes, out of 68, 70 plays, that's remarkable. What I love about Walter is every time I compliment him, he kind of says, "Really? That was okay?" Because he, like most people that are successful, he's not satisfied with being pretty good. He wants to be great, and he wants to do everything right. And he doesn't want to make any mistakes. He doesn't want to get beat. So I appreciate that part about him. An unbelievably conscientious, hardworking young man that I think has a chance to be special. So I've been very pleased with him, and I know he's only going to improve. He's only going to get better. He's only going to get stronger. He's only going to continue to gain experience. Future's very bright with him.
What's going to be the benefit for guys like Walter, Barrett, and some of these other true freshmen who are getting more playing time than expected as freshmen the rest of their careers?
There's nothing like playing. There's nothing like it. So for a lot of young players, what we've had typically in the past is they come in, they play a little bit in our big personnel groupings, and they play anywhere from 5 to 10 plays in a game and get that experience. But now to come in and play 65, 70 plays, 70 snaps, always gaining experience and learning and growing and making a mistake and correcting that mistake. So going into year 2, instead of having 60 plays under your belt, you got 250 plays under your belt, 300 plays under your belt. Now going to year 2, it's not just, okay, when I play a lot, this is what I'm going to do. Oh, that's what I play. Now I know I'm going to get better. I'm excited about, all of our freshmen across the team, but in particular the offensive linemen having a great offseason with Coach Carroll, and now taking all this experience and getting bigger and stronger. Like I said, I've been saying since the beginning, I'm really excited about these young guys, not just to provide depth for this year, but we've got some guys that we think can play this game at a high level.
It's been talked about before that it can be tough to kind of, fairly evaluate the performance of a cornerback because of just how much hinges on a big play being given up. But how would you evaluate Paulson this past week and maybe the defense backfield in general?
Much like the conversation earlier with the entire defense, for a good chunk of the game, defensive backfield, that we played really well. You're gonna give up yards. That's what happens, especially when a team we're doing so good against the run. They're gonna dedicate some time to throwing the ball. We got a couple sacks. We got a couple hurries. If we don't get after the quarterback, he's got some time. And this young man can make some throws now. His quarterback, he dropped about 4 or 5 balls into really tight windows. They've got one extremely explosive fast receiver and another receiver, as we mentioned earlier, potentially one of the most complete receivers in our conference. Great route runner, has great patience, has great hands, made an unbelievable catch back behind him in the end zone. So we know 2 things. Number one, because of our reputation, because of Paulson's reputation, he's going to get everybody's best shot. And number 2, if you can take away one phase of the game for a good chunk of the game, they're going to rely on the other phase. And passing game-wise, it is 2 things working together at all times. Pressure on the quarterback and coverage. Sometimes great coverage leads the quarterback to hold the ball, which pressure shows up. Sometimes the pressure makes the quarterback throw the ball early, which means now the secondary can make some more plays. So those 2 things have to go hand in hand. But as far as how secondary-wise we're playing, how Paulson's playing, it's been good at times and not quite good at times. And the hard part for playing corner is, you make a mistake, it's a 25-yard gain or a touchdown. And you can make 2 mistakes in a game and give up 75 yards. So that's the thing about being vigilant, about his technique. He's unbelievably talented, works extremely hard. Still believe he's one of the best corners in America. We've just run into a couple of guys that have made some great plays. We got him backed up. That throw and catch on the sideline was outstanding. Almost a one-handed catch, barely got 1 foot in bounds. That's happened to Paulson 3 times this year. Those are great throws and great catches and acrobatic plays. That's going to happen sometimes. What you lament over the fact that he had that one opportunity. It was an unbelievable play by him to go up and grab that, and the ball kind of moved in his hands and never hit the ground, but it moved in his hands, almost kind of was slipping out of his hands as his shoulder hit the white to go out of bounds. And so now it's a non-catch. So that could have erased a lot. That drive ended up being a touchdown, whereas that could have been great turnover and great position. And with the momentum, we get 25 yards of real estate. Now we're either kicking a field goal or we're scoring a touchdown, which completely changes the game. So that's the thing with those guys, is to be as consistent as possible, to try to not give up the big play, realize that some plays are going to happen, but when we have a chance to get our hands on the ball, if we make those plays, once again, this game doesn't come down to the end of the game.
Washington has played well overall, except for it was like this challenge. Really love to have him back. Your initial thoughts on the Huskies?
Very talented, very physical. Defensively, they don't have the same mass inside that they've had over the years, but they've got quickness and athleticism and explosiveness up front. They get a lot of penetration. They get a lot of hits on the quarterback with a 3 or 4 man rush. It's not about pressure with those guys. It's about how active they are up front and secondary-wise. They have speed, athleticism. They change up their coverages. They go in back and forth between playing 2 high, single high, zone blitz 3 deep, man-to-man. So they have a really good mix of what they can do. They can, go to their Washington State game plan and drop 8 guys and make it tough to throw the ball. They can load the box up and play tight man coverage and dare you to throw the ball against some really good defensive backs. Offensively, they've always had versatility. They've always had versatility in their running game, their passing game, their movement. They got a very talented quarterback that many of us truly believe has a chance to be special. Still in the beginnings of his career, but the kid can make some big-time throws, and he's a really good athlete. So it's about dealing with their versatility on the offensive side. They're big up front. They can run the ball. They do a variety of things with their receivers to help them get open. And special teams, they've always been one of the most sound special teams groups in our conference. So for us, it's about us playing at the level that we believe we can play at and sustaining that over a long period of time, which has been our challenge all year. In spurts, we've been outstanding. In spurts, we haven't. So a challenge like this, we can't afford to play our second best football.
Last year, arguably the most frustrating of the losses, the result in Seattle. How does that potentially set the stage for this game as well?
Well, it's a microcosm of where we are right now. The 2 games, I don't know what you say is worse. Washington and Utah last year were basically the same game. We did not play well initially. We did not handle their pressure initially. We did not handle their execution initially. And then we woke up and got stops on defense and points on offense. And to play against really good teams like that, really physical teams like that, you have to play that way the whole time. You have to make the plays that are there for you to make. You can't make critical mistakes. You have to, at the very least, match their intensity and their physicality. And you can't start slow. You start slow against Washington, you'll be down 21-0. They've proven that repeatedly the last few years. You start fast against them, now at least you're in a battle. And it's a 1-score game either way. Now you're battling, but you can't come out without being intense and intentional in everything that you do.
You talked at the beginning of the year about kind of a rededication amongst the coaching staff to the season, getting back to what works well for you guys and finding what would work for this team. How do you see that manifesting itself throughout the season?
I think it's really helped us. I do. I think we've shaved a lot of the things that we were doing schematically to really focus on our guys and what they do well. Injuries always play a part in that. Young guys play a part in that. Sometimes there's some young guys that have talent but just don't have the experience or the knowledge, but you want their talent on the field. So you have to make sure you're not overloading those guys, but then also not playing so standard that the older guys don't have a chance to do what they do well. So there's always that mix of bringing in some younger guys and getting them on the field without the experience, but helping them, whether it's special teams or offense or defense. And then making sure that we're catering to our guys and their abilities and not just what we want to do schematically. What can our guys do? What can they do well? And holding that to that standard. If we focus on doing what our guys do well, they got to work hard. They got to push themselves. They got to play with that passion and energy that we need. So that's kind of the whole thought process, and it's not groundbreaking or earth-shattering. But I think we did that as a staff very intentionally this year. And I think it really has paid off at times for us. I think we haven't played at the level that we're capable for an entire 60 minutes. This has been the closest for about 3 quarters. Though we played really well for half against UCF, played really well for a quarter and a half against USC. Now it's just about putting it all together. I was talking to somebody the other day. There's 2 columns in college football. There's win and loss. There's no injury column. There's no asterisk column. So for whoever's healthy and whoever's out there and who we put out there, young or old, as long as they're healthy, we go out there and we try to find a way to win.
Last week, I know you gave your thoughts on California SB 206, but I was curious if you had any sort of reaction to the statement the Pac-12 put out, kind of their response to, to the bill versus sort of like what you personally think of it.
I don't really have a response to the conference. I think all conferences are going to deal with this sooner or later. The NCAA is dealing with it. The biggest thing, as I said last week, is we just got to find common ground, something that works for the benefit of, the benefit of student athletes, but also for the benefit of college football for the long run. And this is not a short-term thing. This is a long-term thing. This is a thing on a lot of levels that makes a lot of sense. There are, like most things, parameters. You need to have parameters in order to have true, relatively level competition. We're just in the beginning of this process, and all this bill has done is put a stopwatch on it and say, okay, NCAA, Pac-12, SEC, Big Ten, ACC, everybody, you got to figure this thing out. You got 3 years to do it, as opposed to what many of us thought if this bill never came out, somewhere in the next decade, we got to find a way to make this thing right. Well, now we have a stop date. You got by January 2023. Get it done. And there's going to have to be a lot of commonality. There's going to have to be a lot of conversations about how do we put parameters around this without completely restricting the student athletes to do something that they're legally able to do, but also know something way that does protect them, because there's a lot of ways they can be used and abused outside of the university, and at the same time allow them to have the freedom to do what they're able to do. So really interesting, and I'm curious to see what ideas come about through this.
Coach, the game Saturday, another national telecast. Really the full chance for the student body to be there with undergrads for the first time, the red zone. Maybe just talk about how important that is to have their support, especially after a nice turnaround win, playing a really quality team. What kind of their support would mean?
Yeah, we know when we can get that stadium full, it's an electric environment. It's exciting. I think especially now being in school for a while, just your friendships and people that are coming to watch you, especially for these younger guys that the freshman dorms come out and support all their athletes and all their sports. So you usually seen the dorm signs in the student section. But they bring an energy and a passion because it becomes personal. Those are my friends out there, and I want to come support them and cheer for them, and to do it on national television and against a very good opponent. Should be an exciting game. Should be a fun game.
What's the biggest difference between the performance in the first 3 quarters and the defense in the fourth quarter?
I just think it was a lack of focus. I think when we turn on the film, we look at the first 3 quarters, we're executing, we're getting our job done, we're playing fast. And then the fourth quarter, we're just letting little things create big plays. And we look at the film, there wasn't many things that we did that were detrimental, but unfortunately in this game, it's a game of inches. It's little things that can create creases, create seams, which ultimately create scores.
Given the things that you guys focus on all off season to improve as a defense, through 5 games now, how would you kind of grade the greatest areas of focus you had? I think, kind of tackling. Coach Anderson wanted run defense to greatly improve, pass rush. I know some of those are really general, but how would you grade those through 5 games?
I would say that we've constantly improved from week to week. Honestly, we're always striving to get better. So I can't say that we're satisfied with where we're at right now, but we're definitely happy with the improvement that we're seeing from week to week. There's obviously a lot of places where we can get better. I think one of those is creating turnovers and making bigger plays that can influence momentum in the game. But just going off base of things that you listed, I would say that I think we're doing well, but I also think there's a lot of places where we can improve.
What's been a challenge for you guys over the last couple of years? That for both you and Andrew being almost the only bodies on the inside and nearly having to go to every snap.
I think that when you can't really rotate like that, it definitely, when teams are running fast-paced offense and they're able to get a lot of snaps off, obviously it's a good amount of wear and tear on the body. The training we've done prepares us for that, but I would say that to us is the biggest challenge is just once you get towards the end of the game, it's definitely, you start to feel that wear and tear a little bit more, and then obviously as you get later on in the season, that impact starts to be felt a little bit more.
What have been some of the biggest shifts for you, obviously moving from outside to inside? What have been some of the biggest changes that you've had to make as far as your role and how you approach things on a day-to-day basis?
I would say that just from moving from outside to inside, the biggest shift for me was my eyes and creating better eye progression. Playing on the line, you don't have to see as much. You're seeing everything up close, and then when you're playing inside, it's really, you have to, we call it apexing our vision, looking to a certain point but seeing 3 different people moving different directions, if that makes sense. I think that has been the thing that I've had to work on the most and the thing that I've been trying to improve the most as the season's gone on. But as far as role goes, I think obviously when I was younger, I was more of a role player at the old position and on special teams, and now kind of stepping into this more prominent role. My mindset, I don't want to say it's changed, but it's definitely been impacted, and I think that the focus just has been more for me and has to continue to grow throughout the season.
As you studied them in film for the upcoming game on Saturday, what's been the most impressive thing you've seen about Washington's offense?
They play together very well. They have a lot of variety, and the main thing we've been focusing on in the Oberham is the O-line, obviously. They play together very well. They're a big group. They're a seasoned group, a lot of veterans on their group, people we've seen for many years. So their cohesion is something that is definitely something to be commended, and I think that as a defense, it kind of just, what I was going back to before, talking about focus, it's something that you really have to lock. It's a game you really have to lock in for. It's a good challenge for us, but I think that we're excited for it. We're ready for it.
For them last week, Salvador had a pretty big game.
Mhm.
What are some of the things they do to kind of free him up, and what are the challenges that you anticipate seeing from him?
I mean, like I said, going back, their O-line plays well together. They know the scheme. They know what they're trying to accomplish up front, and obviously that helps them open up holes for their running backs. The running backs are super talented as well, so they know what to do with the ball once they see openings. They do a lot of movement. They shift a lot, stuff that could really confuse the defense potentially. And I think that being the playmakers that their running backs are, if those seams are open, they're going to take them.
Obviously, and we talked to Coach Shaw a little bit about this, it's really kind of down to you and Andrew, an inside backer, playing a lot. So we see you guys on game day. What is it like preparing, knowing that you guys are going to have to shoulder so much of the load and working off of each other?
We don't really look at it as having to shoulder the load. We just see it as an opportunity to make an impact on the game. And I think that me and Andrew's cohesion has grown a lot throughout the season. Obviously, from spring, that was our first time getting to work together, and we were still rotating more, working with Ricky and Jacob and Beecher throughout the course of spring. So we didn't get to work solely with each other, but throughout the season, as we have been kind of confined with each other, our cohesion has grown a lot, and just learning to play with each other has helped both of our games in different aspects. And I think that it's continuing to show, and it's continuing to help us play.
3 freshmen progress you've seen from Tristan and Aeneas and Lavani in practices?
Yeah, the biggest progress I've seen from them is just the playbook and being able to play faster. Obviously, when you come in, I think we spoke on this before. When you come into a defense like this, and you didn't run one similar to it in high school, it's definitely a big learning curve. And it's definitely hard to be able to play as fast as you think that you can or want to when you don't really know what you're doing. So for them, I think the biggest progress I've seen is their knowledge of the playbook and their ability to apply that on the field from the meeting room.
The guys up front, Williams, Joe Vaughn, Thomas Booker, how critical are they to what you need to do?
Extremely. And I think that it's shown. They've been playing amazing in these last couple games. And it makes my job really easy when they can create movement up front and I don't get second-level blocks. And I haven't been taking on many second-level blocks in these games. So, like, shout out to them because they've been making me and Andrew's job very easy. And I think that's a group that doesn't necessarily get a lot of credit just because it's not the most flashy plays that you see. And a lot of their big plays come from taking on three blockers at once or, swimming the center, getting plays in the backfield. And so I think that their play has definitely springboarded me and Andrew's play throughout the season.
Coach talked earlier about having the students back. That last game in Oregon, they just kind of got on campus and are kind of, particularly the freshmen, are just kind of figuring everything out, getting new friends. Saturday night, you're going to have all the student body back. How much does that support me with that red zone and getting that place loud, especially when it'll be on national TV and a chance to really make a statement?
We love that. Obviously, any support we can get is very appreciated, and especially from the students, the individuals that we interact with every day, whether it be in classes or in our dorms. It's really nice to have them out there and to be able to play in front of them. And so when we get that opportunity, we obviously would love to take advantage of it. It's awesome to play in front of your peers. Any fans that we play in front of, we're always appreciative of, but to play in front of your close peers is definitely a special thing.
Anything else for Curtis? Thank you, Curtis.
So, watching the game, wondering for your room in particular, but maybe just in general for the offense as well, your guys' biggest takeaways?
Specifically in terms of the O-line, this was the first game we had two freshmen on our left side, so it was really big about just communicating, getting our jobs done, and kind of letting them get introduced to college football. But besides that, I think we just got to really communicate, overemphasize that in the offensive line. Besides that, for what we had, I think we did pretty good. I'm pretty excited about it. In terms of our offense as a whole, something to take away, I really think we just got to focus on finishing. I think we have a really, really good offense and a lot of potential to be dangerous. And something we just got to focus on is finishing our drives and for the O-line, our blocks and such.
Walk us through the pass play that resulted in Michael Wilson's touchdown from your
The screen?
screen.
Oh, okay, the screen. So all week we've been working on our screen mechanics. We really talk about getting out and getting flat to that corner defender to make them make the decision because it's a lot easier to go flat and up than out and then flat in terms of just like trying to get angles on corners. And so we've been working that actually a lot in practice. And it was something that I had in the USC game, kind of similar, kind of that kick-out block. So I've been thinking about it a lot, and I was really excited to get out in space. And so when they called that play, I was really excited. And when I got out there, I got flat, and the corner kind of played off, and so I just kind of tracked up, blocked him out, and then everybody else was blocking their guys too. It was a pretty awesome play. It's fun to be part of.
And on the screen mechanics, that's been something that's been a much larger part of the offense this year. Like, how has it been? How do you like that as an offensive lineman? Being able to get out and get after some corners.
Yeah, I love it. Personally, like being an offensive tackle right now, and like someone who thrives on showing athleticism, I think it's a great way to, show anyone that I can do that, and I'm a versatile human. Same for our whole line, that we can move, we can bend, we can play athletic. I also think it's a great changeup that even on a third down situation, we can call a screen and know that there's a really good opportunity that'll be a positive play. And then that also results in pass pro when it's a 3rd and 8. People are yelling screen on the defense, and that kind of messes with them in terms of letting tackles get back, getting their stances, and being able to really play some football.
And when you watch the freshmen, I know you're doing a lot of focus on yourself and improving your technique, but when you watch the freshman tape,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they've had a tall task. They got to replace two really good football players we have, and they're doing a good job. It is a real tall task, but they have a great enthusiasm. They're attacking the day well. They're really attentive in meetings. They're trying to get better and grow. And after practice, I'll hang out with Walt and just talk about pass sets and the nuances of kind of how that goes on and kind of the game within the game. But Barrett stepping in, just being the next man up, he did great. He played physical. There's some things to clean up, but we all kind of have that. And I'm really excited about them. I hope they keep progressing because we're going to need them. And so, yeah, I'm pretty excited about what they got.
How does that change the dynamic when you're not necessarily looking at the same other four offensive linemen in the huddle from game to game and even, unfortunately, sometimes from series to series?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've done a really good job, and Coach Carb's done a good job that we're kind of all in this together, that it's not like there's these set guys, and then, like, if it goes down, it's, like, chaos. I think, like, if someone goes down, it's just kind of next man up. Like, we have prepared really well. We get after it in practice, and we feel really confident in anyone that steps in our O-line that they can do the job. And that's been really apparent this season because of injury, we've had guys just have to step in and play. Same for me. Henry had to go to right tackle, and we just trust everyone that goes in there because, we're really well prepared and we get after things.
Any major differences from your standpoint, or at least from your perspective, compare and contrast KJ and Davis? Does anything change? Does anything stay the same whenever?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I love both of them. I think they're great dudes. And whoever's in the huddle, I'm totally all about. It's just pretty much who's going to get us the W, and I think both of them are very capable of that. Obviously, Davis has shown that, and KJ has shown that throughout the years. So both of them I'm really excited about. They're awesome dudes. They lead the huddle well, and they make great decisions in terms of not just passing receivers, but kills, letting things roll, like flipping protections. So either way, I'm pretty comfortable with whoever's back there.
Obviously, it's pretty well documented what Davis has had to work through just to be on the field.
Yeah.
And then you and him go way back.
Yeah.
Is there kind of an added satisfaction? He led the Seahouse chant. I mean, he
Yeah.
performed pretty well to see that happen.
Yeah. The adversity he's had to go through is pretty impressive. I don't know many people that could do what he's done with the attitude he's had. So to see a little bit come to fruition has been really exciting. And yeah, I'm really pumped for him to be able to do that and kind of break us down. And he had that awesome catch, and that was on sport. Like some things, people earn. He really earned that, and that was really exciting for him.
You talked about, what Coach Carver has done with the room. And in some ways it's kind of connected to what you're talking about with the freshmen having to learn a lot. Last year was his first time running a college O-line room, and then also you have all these injuries, and he's kind of having to deal with a lot and adjust to a lot. What have you seen from kind of him as a teacher and a coach through this?
Yeah. I mean, this whole process over the last year or two that we've had him, I think like our O-linemen and him, we've all just kind of like grown together, just kind of understanding like the ebbs and flows of the season and what's going on, and we've had some pretty tough situations that have occurred that like I feel like not a lot of locker rooms face in the O-line room, and I think we've done a great job. Coach Carbs has done a great job just being all about us. He cares for the guys, and he kind of understands, when we need certain things and we don't. I feel like he feels the room pretty good, and so I think as we are just progressing, we just kind of grow together and just kind of understand each other more, and I think it's been really good.
So looking into the Washington game, what do they do up front in terms of stunts and blitzes to kind of to challenge your protection?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so Washington's always a good defense. They're really stout. They're well coached. But in terms of their schematics, they have some good games. They play a couple different fronts. They got pretty good pass rushers, good D linemen. I mean, all in all, like to be very blunt, it's just they're a really good football team, and so are we. And so I think it's gonna be a really fun matchup just to see how we handle these things and vice versa.
You're a Washington kid.
Yeah.
When you see that W lining up against you on the opposite sideline, what kind of goes through you?
I'm not sure what we'll go through. So last year I was injured for the Washington game, and so I'm actually really excited just to get on the field and kind of see if any emotion hits me. I don't know if it will that much, just because I've always kind of been a Stanford guy ever since I was a young kid. But just to know that kind of it's the hometown team I'm going against. I know a lot of the players on that team. It kind of has like a familial type vibe. I'm sure same for like Connor Weddington would kind of say the same thing. Because I've worked out with like a lot of those guys on the team. One of the guys I'm going against, I lifted with for a whole senior year. And so I think that'll just be really fun. It's going to be a fun game. I'm really excited for it.
Anything else, Foster?
Yeah, one quick one. Kickers oftentimes, kind of go off by themselves and they're sort of ignored unless they miss a kick, and then everybody recognizes them. But here, they're treated just like every other player. Talk a little bit about Jet, about sort of what he means to this team, kicking that winning field goal, and just sort of how he handles himself. He seems like a pretty carefree, easygoing guy, and a kind of guy you'd want in that spot.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it kind of goes with, like, he's from Hawaii, and he kind of has that island vibe to him in terms of, nothing really ever gets too big for him. And I think for a kicker, to see that in him is, like, the most confidence you could have, because you just see that, like, this situation isn't bigger than what it should be in his mind. He just takes care of business. And so over the last couple of years that he's been around, he's been just solid, man. He's been really good to have, and I've enjoyed being on PAT for him.